Okay, Latin 3, here's where we left off. This week's lesson is going to be the last new lesson of a little more Caesar that we're going to do. After this week's lesson, we're going to spend what time we have remaining in some overall vocabulary review to the end of the year. So, this was the last sentence, and here's the reason we waited. Look at this. This is crazy long, but I'm going to use this as an example of when you're reading authentic Latin and you see something that looks this long and difficult, keep in mind of the possibility that it is not, in fact, anywhere near as bad as it may seem. Okay? Yes, indeed, it is true that there are only commas leading up to this final period, but that doesn't mean that this isn't, in fact, something easier than it looks like. Let's dig in. Here's the translation. Now, you have your PDF, and I'm going to ask you to the best of your ability, just to try to follow into the Latin, dig in, figure out how it all works. But let's just read this English first. The bravest of all these are the Belgae, on account of the fact that they are the farthest away from the culture and humanity of the province. Now, notice something, people. If I were to have stopped the sentence right there, okay, does this not, in fact, constitute a valid grammatical sentence? Yes, it does. But now let's read on. And merchants don't often go back and forth to them. Now, if I were to merely have started with merchants, and merchants don't often go back and forth to them, would that not constitute a valid sentence? Yes, it would. Let's finish. And don't import those things which contribute to the refinement of minds. If I were merely to resupply, they don't import those things which contribute to the refinement of minds. Would that not be a grammatical sentence? Yes, it would. So in other words, folks, we don't, in fact, have one crazy long sentence here. We have a run-on sentence. Caesar has merely strung three sentences together, adding the word and that is exactly why this sentence is not nearly as bad as it looks at first glance. So again, que here is one of the ands. Atque here is one of the other ands. And on every side of those words is, in fact, a grammatical sentence. Okay, so now do your best with the PDF to take notes and understand this sentence. Horum omnium fortissimi sunt Belgae, propterea quod, a cultu atque humanitate provinciae longissime absunt. So there's actually only two verbs. Sunt means are, absunt means are not or are absent. Horum omnium, of these, of all, that is to say, of all these, fortissimi sunt Belgae, the bravest are the Belgae. This is not difficult Latin. We have some genitive plurals here, of all these, fortissimi sunt Belgae, the bravest are the Belgae. You're good on all this. Propterea quod, a cultu atque humanitate provinciae, because, now, propterea means like on account of, and quod, of course, means because, and put them all together, propterea quod means on account of the fact that. I mean, to be honest, on account of the fact that just simply means because. So propterea quod is definitely an example of what we would call a redundancy. He could have just said quod. On account of the fact that a cultu, from the culture, also possible religion. So a here means from or away from. Also from and away from humanitate, the humanity, provinciae, of the province. What province is he talking about? He's talking about his Roman province that he is the governor of. Remember, the Romans were very arrogant about their culture. He believes that those Celts up there, they're missing all of these wonderful cultural things that we Romans have. And why are the Belgae the bravest of all? Because they are the farthest away. This is what we're going to learn. He understands that when you're not near the Romans, you kind of like have a tough existence. And that's why they have to be the bravest of all. Longissime absunt. Farthest away they are. So they are the farthest away from the culture and the humanity of the province, that is to say, our Roman province. Minimeque ad eos mercatores saepe comeant. And merchants don't at all go back and forth to them often. Okay, so what do we know? We of course know mercatores is merchants, and we know that saepe is often. Comeant is a new verb for us. It means to go back and forth. Minime means not at all. We've had that as the word for no in the Cambridge series. Ad eos, to them. Ad eos. So what this means is they are so far away from the culture and humanity of the province that merchants don't go back and forth. Now, what would merchants be bringing if they were going back and forth to the Belgae? Well, they'd be bringing, you know, the kind of stuff that would make the Belgae more civilized. And so since they are so far away, merchants don't at all, minime, go back and forth, comeant, to them ad eos, often, saepe. Atque ea quae ad effeminandos animos pertinent important. Now this is a classic Caesar sentence where he's got two verbs in a row. One of them is the verb of a clause, an embedded clause. That's the reason we studied clauses, by the way. And then the other one is actually the main verb. And so, and they, understood again, minime, don't at all important. It's funny, look, this looks like the English word important. It's not. It's actually the Latin verb, third person present, important, they import. Understood, they don't at all. What don't they at all import? Ea, those things. Ea is just the neuter plural of the demonstrative is ea id. They don't at all import those things. Those things, quae. Quae is the neuter plural relative. So what they don't import are those things which pertinent, pertain. Okay, so they don't import those things which pertain. Now, pertain here means like to be related to. To be related to what? Ad effeminandos animos. Literally, to the effeminating of spirits. Now, this might look chauvinistic at first glance. He really means that things like, for instance, having cologne, having nice silk clothes, those are effeminate, and the Belgae don't get those things because, after all, they are so far from the province. And so the merchants don't bring them those things which pertain to the effeminating of spirits. But I don't believe Caesar is being chauvinistic here. He himself loves wearing wonderful silk clothes and putting on cologne. And when he says that those things are effeminate, he certainly is not criticizing them. Proximique sunt Germanis, qui transrenum incolunt, quibus cum continenter bellum gerunt. And they are the nearest to the Germans. Proximi, the nearest. They are the nearest to the Germans. Now, what this is really going to get at is the Belgae are way up, well, near modern day Belgium. And so right next to Belgium is Germany. It's true that, in fact, in World War II, the Germans had annexed and basically taken over Belgium on their way to conquering France. And so because they're next to the Germans, and everybody knows the Germans are really rough and tumble, so he's saying since they're next to the Germans, they basically are the ones who dwell across the Rhine. The Germans are the ones qui trans Rhenum incolunt. So now back to the Belgae. What do the Belgae do? With whom quibuscum they constantly wage war. Quibuscum. The cum means with, of course, and quibuscum, with whom, gerunt, wage, bellum, war, continentur, constantly. So the idea is this: if you are constantly waging war with people that are in fact very nasty and good at war themselves, you're going to have to become very good at war yourself in order to survive. And so that's what sets the Belgae apart from the other Celts. The fact that they're so far away that they don't have all these nice things that effeminate their spirits, that is to say, make them more cultured. And also they are close to the Germans, and so they have to constantly fight those Germans as a result.